Hello, everyone. Welcome to my video on cybersecurity best practices. My name is Christian Visala. I am a student at Metropolitan State University. This video is my presentation for Class Cyber 332, Computer Security course led by Dr. Faisal Kaleem. Just a disclaimer, the information provided in this cybersecurity presentation is for educational purposes only. I am not liable for any damages that could result from the use of this information or demonstration. Why is cybersecurity important? These days, most of our information are digital and in the cloud. And so we want to be able to protect those information and be able to preserve our digital privacy while we're surfing the web. Also, we want to be able to protect any data that we may have stored in storage devices, like in our laptops, USBs, portable hard drives, or mobile devices. And in this presentation, I'll show you how we can do all those things. So for this presentation, we'll cover topics such as password management, software update, safe browsing practices, device security, email security, and backups. Password management. So why is this important? Passwords are basically the front line of our defense when it comes to security. Whenever we're logging into our accounts online, we always have to use our username and passwords. And if an attacker or a threat actor gets hold of our passwords, they're able to get into our account and do some damage, either steal our identity or steal our information. So that's why it's important that we're able to create strong, unique passwords. But that can be difficult, especially if you have a lot of accounts. How do you keep track of all of those? Well, use a password manager. A password manager is basically just a software that will store your passwords and help you create strong, unique passwords for different accounts. And it's important that you don't reuse passwords for the reason that for multiple accounts, for the reason that if one account is compromised and you're using the same password for that, then the attacker can also compromise the other accounts with the same password. So that's why it's important that you create strong, unique passwords and you use password managers to help you manage those things. So what are like the best password managers? Well, you can simply go to any web browser. You can go to Google or DuckDuckGo and type in best password managers. Here, this site basically gives you some of what they think are the best password managers based on their reviews. And you can just pick from any of these. These are what you would call online password managers. They're managed online. And there are pros and cons to it, just depending on your preference. Another type of password managers are the offline types. These are, an example of this would be KeePass. So KeePass is an offline manager. This is the one that I use. And as you can see here, it has this just an example of the different accounts, the usernames, the passwords, and it will help the user, to manage them. Another thing that you can use is a two-factor or enable is a two-factor authentication. What is a two-factor authentication? Two-factor is a secondary layer of defense that you enable on your web accounts. The purpose of that is in the event that let's say there's a data breach. Your username and password somehow got released to the dark web. The two-factor authentication acts as a second layer of defense in that even if they put in your username and password, they still need to enter the code for the two-factor to be able to get in. And if you have that on, then they can't compromise your account. So that's why it's important to enable them. Another important thing is software updates. Why is it important? Despite the best efforts of programmers, there's always some sort of vulnerability in programs. And what software update does is it patches or seals those vulnerabilities so that they can't be exploited by threat actors. And another thing that you can do is enable automatic updates so that it will be easy for you. I use Windows, and one of the ways that you can check to see if your software is updated is by going to the settings, going to update and security. And here, Windows Update, it tells you when it was last updated. And if you want to check, you could just click check update and it will check for you. Safe browsing practices. So here we'll talk about HTTPS, VPN, and clearing your cookies regularly. So what is HTTPS? It simply stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So what it does is it encrypts the data that's transmitted between your browser and the website, and also verifies the identification of the website. So it lets you know that it's the genuine website and not a fake one. So how does data encryption protect you? Basically, when the session between your browser and the server, the web server that you're connecting to is encrypted, it conceals the information, sensitive information that's being transmitted, like your login credentials, your personal details, financial transactions, any confidential. Even if an attacker gets a hold of it, they can't see it. So that's why it's important to use HTTPS. And also this prevents it from eavesdropping. Like I mentioned, if somebody gets a hold of your traffic, they can't see it. So it provides you a certain degree of privacy. An example, how do you know that, let's say, a website is secure? So let's look at Bank of America. So if you look at Bank of America, if you look on the upper right corner, you see a padlock. And this tells you your connection is secure. That means it's encrypted. So when you click on it, it gives you the certificate of the bank that verifies the identity of the bank. And these are issued by, let's see, these are issued by certificate authorities. So it verifies the identity of the site to you. It tells you when it was issued and when it will expire, and gives you all the details that you would need to verify the identity of the bank. So look for these padlock, and that tells you that the website is using HTTPS, and also that the identity of this website has been verified. Virtual private network. So VPN is another way that you're going to be able to protect your, it's another way of ensuring that you're able to browse the web safely. So in the same way that HTTPS encrypts your web traffic, but the difference is that HTTPS only encrypts the traffic between the browser and the server that you're connecting to, the web server, VPN encrypts the traffic between your device and the VPN server. And what this does is it also masks your IP address. So when you're connecting to a VPN server, let's say you live in California and you're connecting to a VPN server that's located in New York. The traffic between your device and the VPN server is encrypted. And then from the VPN server, you're able to go into the internet. Let's say you visit the bank. From the bank's perspective, you live in New York because the only IP address they're able to see is the IP address of the VPN server, which is in New York, but not yours. So it gives you a certain degree of anonymity. The best place to use VPNs are when you're traveling and using public Wi-Fi, so that nobody can view your traffic, and you have security and a certain degree of anonymity or privacy. Another thing that you can do is to clear your browser cookies regularly. The reason for this is that cookies can be used to track your movement on the internet. So whenever you're browsing from site to site, the cookies, those sites store cookies on your browser, and they're basically just text files that websites store on devices regarding information about you as the user. And so when you're visiting site to site, each site stores cookies on your computer, and the other sites can know that you've been visiting those sites. So that's how they're going to be able to track your movements online. So by clearing the browser of its cookies regularly, let's say once a week, it will ensure your security and also your privacy. And so how do you do that? The majority of users are using Chrome. And the way you can do it in Chrome is through, on the upper right, you see these three dots. You go to Settings. You go to Privacy and Security, and you click Clear Browsing Cookies, click Advanced, All Time, and Clear. Now, sometimes you may have stored password data. Then I would recommend unchecking that, or whichever you think are important to you, and just clear the cookies. For me, I just clear everything for ease, since I don't store passwords on my browser. So device security. So how do we secure the devices that stores our data? So let's start with the laptop. So just like at the beginning of using strong passwords, it is important because this is the key to your device or laptop. I would use a strong password, or better yet, enable biometric login. If you're using Windows, you can turn it on by going to Windows Hello. So how do we do that? So let's go to Home, Accounts, Sign-in Options, and here it is, Windows Hello. So you have to set this up, and if your computer allows you. If you're using an older computer, you probably don't have a fingerprint reader, and you may have to rely on a PIN or facial recognition if you have a camera. But if most modern computers have a fingerprint reader, and it's a very simple way setting it up. Just click on this, register your fingerprints. So when you're logging in, all you have to do is press it with your finger, and you're able to log in very quickly. Another one you can do is turn on full disk encryption. So why is that important? The importance of that is, in the event that you lose your laptop, nobody can just access whatever information you have on your device. If you have full disk encryption on. It scrambles the data on your device so that only you can access it and nobody else. So how do you know if you have full disk encryption on? Let's see. Home. Let's see. BitLocker. So for Windows, the full disk encryption is BitLocker. So as you can see, I have it on. If it's not on, it will tell you to turn it on, and you'll have to go through the process. If you're using Apple, you may have to you have to use FileVault, and if you're using Linux, you have to use Lux. But the majority of users use Windows, and I would highly recommend that you use this for security. So in case you ever lose your laptop, they can't access your personal information. Next is enable firewall and antivirus. Why is that important? Firewall is basically the barrier between your device and the internet when you're connecting to the web. Whenever you're connecting to the internet, it manages the traffic and prevents unwanted intrusion. Your antivirus think of it as a second layer of defense. Anything that gets through the firewall, any malicious software, your antivirus will protect you. It will contain it, and it will prevent any damage that can be caused by those things. So let's see. Where's your antivirus? Let's see. Update security. So for Windows, when you go to settings, how do you access your antivirus? You go to update and security. You go to Windows security. Windows default security is Microsoft Defender. For me, I use a different one. I use a third-party program called Avast. Let's see, that's Windows Defender. And what I use is Avast. So it's a third-party program. It provides anti-malware and also firewall and ransomware protection. And you can just Google it and get it for free because it is free. This is the free version. Mobile device security. Just like in the laptop, just use strong login passwords or enable the biometric login because that's your first layer of defense. Another one is to only download apps from official app store. So if you're using Apple, only download apps from their official app store. And if you're using Android, there's a few places you can download it. If you can just download it from the Google's Google Play Store, which is their official app store, or you can use Samsung if you have a Samsung or any other device. But I would highly recommend you only download it from the official app store for your device. And the reason for that is any apps in those repositories go through a certain level of checks, and they check for any applications that could be malware. So it will lower your chances of getting a corrupted or a malware laden application. Third is to enable Find My Device. What's the significance of this? Find My Device will help you in the event you lose your device. So let's say you're traveling and you lost your device, misplaced it. This will help you locate your device, assuming that it's connected to the internet. Or it will tell you where was the last place your device was. And I would highly recommend you don't confront whoever stole your device, but seek assistance from police or security to assist you in getting your device back. But in the event that you can't retrieve your device, Find My Device feature will allow you to wipe the data in your phone so that nobody else can get a hold of it. And the only thing that the phone will be good for is paperweight, in essence. Email security. So here we'll talk about the signs of phishing email. So what are the signs? Essentially, mismatch or suspicious sender information. Phishing email tends to generate a sense of urgency on the user and provide suspicious links. So what do I mean by mismatch or suspicious information? Look for email address discrepancies. Phishing emails often use deceptive tactics such as email address that closely resemble legitimate ones, but contain slight misspellings or additional characters. For example, in this, it shows support@examplebank.com. A phishing email may show as support@examplebank.com, but if you look at it carefully, you notice there's an extra E. And another sign of a phishing email is they use generic greetings when they're addressing the person instead of addressing them by name. Another thing to look for is a sense of urgency. Phishing email often create a sense of urgency, pressuring a user to take immediate action. Suspicious links. Phishing emails tend to have phishing links. Not always, but when they do provide a link, the purpose of that is to redirect you to their compromised website to steal your information. So let's say you get an email and it's from your bank, and it may have a link to your bank. But if you hover over it, you can tell that it's not an email from your bank. In this example, I'm using my bank as the link, but if you hover your cursor over the link, you'll notice that it says Wikipedia. And an example of that is this. So if you look at this email, and this is an example email for PayPal. The email is not correct domain and address field, aggressive wording. They're using threats, a sense of urgency, saying that some information from your account appears to be missing or compromised. Please confirm your information properly so that you can continue to enjoy all the benefits of PayPal account, and then they provide you the link to for you to click on for your convenience. And what this does is it will redirect you to their site, collect your information, have you fill out a form, collect your information, and then next thing you know, your account's been compromised. Backups. What is the significance of this? Backups are basically your safety net. So in the event that something happens to the data in your computer, if it gets corrupted, or let's say a natural disaster ruined your laptop or your mobile device, then backups will allow you to at least recover your data or will get you back up and running because you have copies of your data. And we'll talk about the 3-2-1 rule backup in the next slide. Regularly backing up your data allows you to have the most current backups so that if something happens, like I said, to your computer, you're going to be able to recover the data, the latest data that you have. So the 3-2-1 backup, what is it? The 3 simply stands for 3 copies of your data, the original data and 2 additional copies. The number 2 stand for 2 different storage media. So these 2 copies are to be stored on 2 different types of storage devices or services. So what does that mean? It means that an example of that is maybe to store part of your, to have a copy on the cloud, and then to have another copy on a portable storage device. And then one of the copies to be stored offsite. So let's say put it in a safe, so that if, let's say, you lost internet access and your computer gets damaged, at least you have that backup on the portable storage still available. You can still access the data. Or if something happens to your computer and you're not at home, you still have the backup of your data on the cloud. So it gives you multiple ways of retrieving your data. So remember the 3-2-1 rule. That's all I have for this presentation. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you learned something. Bye.